Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at SUI, see what's going on. Definitely on the struggle bus here still. In fact, if we take a look here, this is just throwing it out there, it's pretty obvious that we're in a little bit of a range here and we cannot seem to close above or below 342 or 363. So that's good and bad depending on how you look at it, because with us coming from the upside, there's a distinct probability we're going to break to the downside, considering this is a typical form of a bearish rectangle because it derived from the upside. So just know that that pattern exists. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Don't hate me for disliking your coin because I'm telling you it's possibly going to go down. Sorry, I like to joke about that just because I think levity is important, and some people get a little too cross when it comes to trading. So what we want to do here is look at a couple of invalidations. First of all, getting above $3.63. This guy here, if we could do something like this, that would allow for us to be able to continue further up. That would invalidate that downtrend. For right now, we cannot seem to close above it. And I know you're probably thinking, wait a minute, there has been multiple closures above it. Not exactly. We take a look at the 4 hour. This is the more important time frame to identify. We can see it's not actually happening. Okay. So again, a lot of just little things to look for. Does this mean we're going to go straight to the ground? No, it just implies we want to be mindful. We also got to be mindful too that SUI has a tendency of just ripping in the upward direction more likely than not when things get like this. So bearish patterns, whatever the case, there's a distinct probability we will see the price action recover swiftly if Bitcoin can maintain its $98,000 to $100,000 range. Right now, Bitcoin's kind of struggling at the 98K range, breaking into the 97s, and I think that's causing coins like this to essentially pull back. And when every other coin on the market right now, like for example, Polkadot, Celestia, Dogecoin, like these coins are just pumping like crazy, and SUI is doing nothing. It just feels weird, right? Well, typically when coins do that, they're consolidating, they're due to a breakout. So I think a breakout is going to come here soon. But let's take a look at liquidation first. Left-hand side, we see the last 7 days, we are near the lower half of that range. In fact, if we zoom in a little bit further, the 12 hours has been pretty good about identifying closer pockets of liquidation. We can see 330 as low as 327, maybe somewhere in that range, as a possible reality. So if the price continues lower, we lose our support level at 342, then we could see a run towards the 320 to 330 range, just to kind of give you perspective. But overall, big picture, there's a lot of liquidation way above and way below the price action. So until we get to the low $3 range or the upper upper 390s, basically low $4 range, we have no cause for concern at this point that the price is just going to sweep any liquidation levels, because there's not a ton forming, surprisingly enough. We do see people are more shorting this coin more than they are taking longs. So there's the liquidation delta for shorts is higher, implying that people will have more shorts open. We can see here, of course, as well, 375, 367, these are areas of open interest. So most people, unfortunately, in the last week have been averaging into the 373, 380 range is a rough estimate, and they're finding no success, of course, because again, we haven't closed above that 363 level, so there should be no reason to take a long position. As I've mentioned previously, until we break above that range, there's no reason to take a long, okay? Same thing goes with taking a short until we break below the range too. And in fact, I would just recommend not taking a short at all. Even though we lose that range, we could very well drop quite significantly. Either way, we do have a good support range here. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's go ahead and talk about the daily first. Work our way down. I'll go ahead and remove these previous Elliott wave patterns here. There's a distinct probability we've ABC'd out already, but we could even see further downside. So let's take a quick look here at the SMAs. Just to clarify, we're still in good shape there. Daily time frame still looks pretty solid. However, unlike most coins, we're seeing a MACD divergence on the daily here. Bitcoin is printing a MACD divergence on the 4 hour and also has a stochastic swing to the downside on the daily. That's a second stochastic swing down. So there's a distinct probability we will see a little bit more further downside. I personally feel we might see 95 to 96K tested here soon. That's a local support for Bitcoin. If that happens, what do you think is going to happen with SUI, which is already on the edge of a cliff? It should pull back. Again, historically, it's responded very well to pullbacks, so it'll probably bounce pretty strong at some point. We're going to try to identify that here today, what alternative options are outside of the current support range, but MACD divergence on the daily is not great. I mean, you take a look at this here just to clarify. We haven't diverged on the MACD since October 16th, and just so you know, the last correction from October 16th was roughly here, and the lowest point was there. So we saw a 22% correction from SUI in about 10 days after it diverged. So I'm not saying we're going to see a 22% correction now, but if we were to, hypothetically, again, I'm just kind of giving you an example here, it would be roughly, it would put us roughly in the low $3 range. And that seems like a sensible place to retrace to. Again, just throwing it out there, giving you some food for thought. We are still looking pretty decent, but we lost 70 in the RSI, implying you should have absolutely taken profit on a long position that you may have taken quite a while ago. And if you're in the red right now, I'm sorry, you probably held on for too long. That's okay, that's the way it goes. Depending on what kind of position you're in, it's all good. Spot bags, just continue to add to your position as the price goes down. I'll never propose that you close your spot trades, unless you're just like that kind of trader, but I'm almost always referring to leverage trades when I'm talking about these guys. So make sure, guys and gals, you understand that when I'm saying to close your position, I'm talking mostly about high leverage trades that majority of the market is taking. Okay, because they're probably watching Tom, Dick, and Harry on social media and saying, "Oh, I want to see a 5,000% return on an SUI long that's like 5 months old at 50x leverage because they got pretty lucky." Sure, I want that for myself. That's not what crypto is all about, though, folks. I mean, it is, I guess, unfortunately. That's kind of the premise or the mindset that people are in, but it's just not the way that you can successfully trade, right? So to give you perspective, here's what some successful trades look like. Well, exclude the Bitcoin short here from today. We're short from 98,000 roughly. Cartesi, 63% 4 days. Tau, 32%. Bit sensor, if I'm saying it correctly. 2 days, and then of course we had an AVAX trade hit all targets at 41%. So these are all just longs that we're taking here that have some good profit. And I'm throwing that out there because those are 5x leverage trades, folks. And some people may laugh about it. I don't care if you do, but the truth is my portfolio continues to grow, whether it's slowly or not, without these monumental swings down. Okay, it's always going up, whether it's a little bit or a lot. It's just consistent, right? I prefer consistency in my life. That's just me. So I like to impart that onto you. So that's why I teach you these things. Anyways, we're still below 50 on the RSI. This kind of reaffirms that resistance at 363. We can see stochastics pulling back, but money flow index is higher. So this is a good sign. We're starting to see more money flowing into SUI in the last few days than previous 14 candles. So in this case, 14 candles, roughly 2.5 trading days. So in the last 2.5 trading days, we've seen more volume effectively versus the previous 2.5 trading days. And that's a good sign. That shows sustainability and that people are adding to their positions in this range. We can see a MACD, though, however, still kind of stuck on stupid. It's kind of diverging, but not really strong. You can't trust MACD divergences when prices are range bound. Okay, just know that in general, you're typically going to see the price action break to the downside in a bearish type of rectangle. And if you're not familiar, I have these kind of patterns here in our Discord. So if you're kind of not familiar with how they work, see here, this is a bearish rectangle, roughly 80% probability of breaking down because it derives from the upside. Okay, so again, I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord so you can kind of see that a little more clearly. I still need to update our fibs and kind of move things around a little bit, but for the moment here, we're still looking fairly bearish. Okay, there's nothing that's like breaking bullish or you're trying to look for hidden bullish divergences on the 17-minute chart. That doesn't exist. Okay, and I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I recognize this coin can be strong in most cases and will respond probably pretty positive if Bitcoin can stabilize, but you do also got to recognize there's a lot more selling pressure. People are more biased towards price going down on SUI right now, and that's just the reality of it. Ichimoku Cloud here. This is another thing that's semi-inaccurate for range-bound trading, but once there's a definitive break, you want to pay attention to it. So at this point here, we can see that the conversion line and baseline are close together, saying you don't want to take a long or a short position. We were below the cloud here as well. Generally, that's bearish, but again, the cloud is kind of working it sideways and down, so it's not really a strong indication of the price either bouncing or continuing lower. The lagging span is what we want to pay attention to, and that's still within the price action. So just say we keep going sideways for another 5-10 hours, then probability of the price going down lower is higher. That's kind of what that's going to tell us. So right now, this is one of those situations where no trade is a good trade. I know it seems crazy. Why do I want to wait for 363 to take a long position when I could take a long between now and then? Truth is, you may be able to get away with that because it is range bound, but that's not a guarantee. It is starting to show signs of weakness here, and with Bitcoin on its way back down, I don't really trust SUI for the moment. That's just me personally. I hope you learned something here today, though. Make sure you check this out too, folks. Again, we got a Twitter, Telegram, and Discord where I post my playout charts. I'm going to post one here shortly with this video. And then, of course, make sure you take advantage of this progressive prize pool. We got 6 days left to qualify. Top 20 traders split $60,000. It's a pretty solid little benefit there. I hope you learned something today. Hope you have a good rest of your day too as well. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.